Hello everyone, welcome back. In continuation of Spring tutorials, today we will cover scope of Spring Beans. We have already covered many topics on Spring Framework. In case you have missed any of those, please check out the Spring Framework playlist. And do let me know in case you have any doubt or query. In this video, if you want to access a specific topic, you can use the chapter-wise separation which I have already done. So before we start, if you are new to the channel or like watching my tutorial videos, please subscribe and press the bell icon so that you don't miss any new update. Now without any further delay, let's start. To understand the scope of Spring Beans, there are few topics you should already be knowing. We can say these are the prerequisites for this topic. You should know the basics of Spring Framework, Spring Beans and Spring IOC container. If you are not clear about any of these, I request you to please check out the playlist from your top right corner of your screen now and understand these topics before continuing with this video. To understand the scope of beans, now let's first understand what is a bean definition. When you create a bean definition, you create a recipe for creating actual instances of the class defined by the bean definition. You can control not only the dependencies and configuration, but also control the scope of object created from that particular bean definition as well. The Spring Framework supports 6 scopes, 4 of which are available only if you are using web-aware application context. That means web applications. These scopes are Singleton, Prototype, Request, Session, Application, and WebSocket. Now let's see a couple of these scopes in detail. First one is Singleton scope. Only one shared instance of a Singleton bean is managed by the IOC container, and all requests for that bean, one specific bean instance will be returned. To put this in simple words, when you define a bean definition and it is scoped as Singleton, the Spring IOC container creates exactly one instance of that object, which is defined in the bean definition. This single instance is stored in the cache, and all the subsequent requests and references for that named bean return that cached object. Spring's concept of Singleton bean differs from the Singleton design pattern. Now let's understand this through one example. Here we have 4 different beans defined in the configuration, where account DAO bean is wired with other 3 beans as a dependency, and the scope of account DAO is Singleton in Spring. So in this case, only one instance of account DAO class will be created and injected into the other beans for all the requests per container. We can say that one object is shared among all these 3 other objects. The Singleton scope is the default scope of Spring. We can define the scope of bean using either XML configuration or Java annotations. If we do not define anything, by default Spring will take it as Singleton. Next is prototype scope. It results in creation of new bean instance every time a request for that specific bean is made. As a rule, we should use a prototype scope for all the stateful beans and Singleton scope for all the stateless beans. In contrast to the other scopes, Spring does not manage the complete lifecycle of prototype beans. The container instantiate configures a prototype object and hands it over to the client. And after that, it will not record anything of that prototype instance, whatever it has done in its lifetime. Thus, initialization lifecycle callbacks method can be called on the objects, but the destruction lifecycle callbacks cannot be called. We have already seen in our previous video where we have seen in the lifecycle management of Spring Beans, we can call custom init and custom destroy method. But in case of a bean whose scope is prototype, even though we can call its custom init method, but we will never be able to call its custom destroy method. The client code must clean up the prototype scope bean object and release the resources that prototype bean has used. Now let's understand this through one example. Similar to the previous example, we have 4 bean definitions where one bean is wired to inject to the other 3 beans. But in this, the dependent bean's scope is prototype. So in this case, object will not be shared among the other objects, but a new instance will be created every time we request the prototype scoped bean. Next is Singleton Beans with Prototype Beans as dependencies. This point is also very important from your interview perspective as well, because these kind of questions are getting asked in the interview as well. So when you use Singleton scoped bean with the dependencies on prototype beans, be aware that dependencies are resolved at instantiation time itself. Thus, if you dependency inject a prototype scoped bean into a Singleton scoped bean, a new prototype bean is instantiated and then dependency is injected into Singleton bean. But the prototype instance is sole instance that is ever supplied to that Singleton bean. So even though it's a prototype bean, but it is injected into a Singleton bean. So every time a request comes for the Singleton bean, the same bean of that prototype scoped will be supplied again. Suppose you want a Singleton scoped bean to acquire a new instance of prototype scoped bean repeatedly on runtime. We cannot dependency inject that prototype scoped bean into your Singleton bean, because injection occurs only once during the instantiation. But if you still need that, you can use a technique called method injection. So using that, every time you can inject a new instance of prototype scoped bean inside a Singleton bean as well. These were two main scopes that we have in Spring Framework. Other than that, we have scopes which are related to web application, or we can say web aware scopes. We will not discuss them in detail here. I will leave it to you to explore it more on this side if you are interested in learning about these scopes. So let's just check them in brief. So in all these scopes, a bean will be created and will go through the complete life cycle. Like for request, a single bean will be created for the complete life cycle of one HTTP request. Similar in the case of session as well. And in case of application scope, it will be there till end of the servlet context. So till that complete application is there in the memory, the bean will be used. A single bean will be created and used. And in the end, we have WebSocket. So for the whole life cycle of one WebSocket, one WebSocket connection, one bean will be created and used. Now, before we conclude, let's see how we can set a specific scope for our bean. There are two ways to do that. One is using annotations and second one is using XML configuration. We can use @scope annotation and mention the scope that we want to set for a bean. Like here, we have set the scope to Singleton for my bean. We can also use constant instead of using direct string, like @scope value is equal to, and then we can use configurable bean factory dot then the name of the scope. So here it will be scope underscore Singleton, and it will be different for the different scopes. Similarly, we can configure it using XML. In the XML itself, in the bean definition, there is a property called scope, and inside that we can provide the scope name which we want to set for that particular bean. So to conclude, in this video, we have covered what all scopes Spring Framework support. Also, we have seen in detail what are singleton and prototype scopes and how they impact the object creation in Spring Framework. And in the end, we have seen how we can set different scopes in code for Spring Beans. I hope you find this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, share this video with your dev community. Until then, thanks for watching. Keep learning.